Hey everyone, Larry here from LC Model Shipbuilding. We're in video number 4 now with the Constitution. Um, we didn't get our parts in, but I was able to improvise and take us into a different aspect of the ship until the parts come. So what I did was as you'll see, I end up joining the decks together. We get the scale deck down and basically get all the finish work done on the deck that we can do up until this point. So um, that box is supposed to be here Friday, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'll talk about that, I'm sure, throughout the video. But I just also want to kind of give a reminder. We have our Canon giveaway. So this is the Canon that on Saturday, we'll be drawing the winning name. So if you haven't yet done it, and I only have 5 people that have responded so far, go on to my page. There's a quick 1-minute video with a question. If you answer that question correctly, you'll be put into a drawing in order to win this cannon. So anyway, it's pretty cool. It moves. I mean, you can make a paperweight out of it or whatever you want to do with it. So anyway, hopefully you enjoy this video, and thanks for tuning in. Okay, so first up on this video, I did find some Canon Crew to 3D print, so I have them. I've printed about 40 people, which will be able to be around some of the different cannons and all that good stuff. And most of them would have taken, obviously, more than one person to fire, so they had a whole crew. So I got these printed out, and I got more printing right now. And what I'm going to also do, I got to kind of give a shout out to Gary Sanders. He is sending me a few extra of the people that came with the kit for postage. So much appreciate Gary. But here is my first set of people. They're all pretty well painted up and ready to go. I am going to hit them with the dull coat because the blue came out a little bit shiny. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with them. Got a little bit of black I got to deal with here and there because I was trying to get some of the wrinkles in the pants noticed, or not noticed, but a little bit more noticeable. So I'll get that cleaned up. They'll be fixed up, but I figure with what Gary's sending me and then with my Canon Crews that I'm printing out right now, I'll have a pretty good set of people actually manning the decks and doing all the fun stuff that you would do on a ship. So these are all people to be cut off the sprues and painted. So this episode definitely is going to have a lot of painting. I started working on the railing, so I got the railing going. My yard arms are going to end up being the same color, and they are your beams that kind of go across on the the horizontal part of the mast. So that's where your sails are held, and then the yard arm or the yard extensions over here, and then there's obviously more as we go. I also got the lifeboat deck painted up. I will be able to install the lifeboats. I can do that without having the deck on, so that's not a big deal. That'll give something to happen during this episode. I also painted up these, so I got to paint the grates for them yet, but we'll be doing that throughout this episode. And what else? More than likely I will paint the mast, the white mast, and get them pretty much ready to go. And we did some more just wood for around the ship as we're going. There's the ship wheel, so we'll get that all painted up and ready to go. It has the first coat of the Tester's, what is this, Tester's light brown or light tan, I forget what it's called. So anyway, a little bit of an update. There will definitely be more painting as we go, so stay tuned, and I'm going to go ahead and get these all cut up and taken off. Maybe I'll show part of that with the electric hot knife, which is here. If you don't have one of these, highly recommend it. They work fantastic. So we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, I got a lot of people here, all different Canon Crew people, and I got a couple more to go, and then I got one more set behind this one, so I'm gonna have a lot of painting to do. I'm not that worried about painting these for a little while. I mean, I'll probably work on a few of them here and there. I do want to move back onto the ship because I was looking at the directions, and I can actually go ahead and build this part in with the lifeboats and get that all ready, because the deck just basically lays over top of it once we're ready to go with that. So it's really going to be no harm, no foul in getting that part put back or put together. I may even consider putting the deck down beforehand, because as I've read the directions, where we have the wheel back here, you have to do some stuff from underneath. So either way, I'm going to run into a situation where I either have to put the deck all on at once, or I have to come up with something basically to do that part of it. So I'm going to kind of see where this takes me. The other aspect that I thought about being able to possibly do is actually run some beams underneath here to kind of connect these together so that I can get the deck all down in one piece, because I'm pretty sure once I go to put it on the ship, if it's all in one piece, I'm not going to really run into any issues. It'd be just like any other model, and it basically fits right in. So we're going to kind of play it by ear as we go on that, because if I could start to build that up, I could get all the rails around here for the mast. I can get all the grating on, and really continue to move forward with this build. I did get notification from Radomir at his models, and my parts have shipped, and they're expected to be here Monday. So we're only talking, I don't know, 6 days. Not bad coming from the Czech Republic. So definitely appreciate him in that. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and put these into a little case so I have them all separated, and they are very brittle. That's a fuse guy right there. I got to kind of clean up his fuse a little bit, but he would be the guy that lights the Canon. So I got to clean that up a little bit. But oops, there's a piece of sprue left there. I'm going to get these into a little plastic container so that they stay safe. And I think they're going to end up being a project for nighttime when I'm bored and I don't really have anything to do. Not that that really happens that often, but there are times that I just kind of watch TV, so I could probably move a couple paints into the room and just do a little bit of painting with getting these little soldier figures done. That one there, he's cool. He has a cannonball in his hand, so he's there for loading it. I'm really happy with these guys. So I know I've been talking about them for a good portion of this video so far, but very happy I found them. So I did have a couple requests for me to print these for people. I don't own the file. I bought the file, so I don't know if I'm safe in doing that, being new to 3D print world. Gonna kind of steer clear from that right now until I know a little bit better. So anyway, let me get these boxed up, and then we're going to go ahead and start playing with the deck a little bit. All right, here we are. We're going to start doing our wood grain on the beams here, and just like in previous, I'm just dry brushing a little bit over, trying to bring down the lightness of the tan. Nothing too difficult, and again, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is more just about trying to get wood grain. That's a little bit darker than I want, but that's okay. I'll touch that back up with some tan. All right, So, all in all, I'll take that. Not too bad. Just a little dark in that one spot. Get a little bit on the beams. And this should end up matching the tops of the boats pretty nicely, because it's pretty much the exact same way I did them. And as I was looking at this more, I have decided I am going to go ahead and join the decks together using a beam underneath. I'll let it dry basically overnight when I do it. I'll probably end up doing it tomorrow, so it'll be later in this video. But I am going to get the lifeboats at least put on, and kind of get a little bit ahead. And oops, a little bit darker than I wanted again, but it'll be all right. Kind of hit the side edges just a little bit here. All right. All right, not bad. Now we're going to hit this little trim piece here and here. Okay. Now before I go, well, actually, we're also going to do the lifeboat holders quick while we have the brown out. And these end up gluing down onto the cross beams there that we just kind of did the wood grain on. Don't have to go too crazy with this. It doesn't have to be too light, doesn't have to be too dark, just kind of where it kind of has a natural wood look to it. And then we'll hit it with a tiny bit of black yet too. And I'll also do these little latches that are kind of on there that look like they're holding the beams together. We'll hit them with a little bit of black too. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that. Next up, we're going to hit some black. All right, and because I'm not that worried about it, I'm not even going through any kind of cleaner. I'm just wiping it down because I actually want the brown and the black to kind of mix a little bit. The deck itself, I'm going to end up probably painting black before I put the deck down on it, the scale decks down on it for the show-through purposes. I think the paper, or not the paper, but the wood that the decks are, it's just a very, very thin piece of wood, so it does not hurt to have a little bit of texture behind it. And I've done that with a lot of other ships. Lusitania, the decks were all black on that, I believe, before I put the decks down, the scale decks down on them. It also helped with the light bleed through on that ship, but obviously I'm not really going to have that problem to worry about with this one because we're not lighting. All right, a little bit of black kind of on there. missed some brown over on these other cross beams going this direction, so I'm gonna have to come back with that. Not a big deal, we'll hit that, but we'll do the black quick while we have it here. Okay. I'm gonna do a little bit of the top edge here, just all the way around. Not going crazy. Any light spots, that would be where I'm kind of adding a little bit more. And it really just brings out the grain that is molded into the kit. We're going to hit a little bit along here. A couple little spots I'm going to have to hit with a little bit of the tan, just to kind of lessen it up a little bit. But I'll actually end up doing the wet sand, or the wet sanding. Sorry, I'm thinking car world. I'll end up doing a little bit of the dry brushing with the tan, just to bring that color back a little bit. Okay. And this side I gotta put brown on again. Missed that. And this part of the ship does not have the wood grain in it, so the brush actually is doing kind of a nice job with that to give the look I'm looking for. Okay. Good. Now we're going to go back to the tan again. Just for a little bit. Not much at all. Okay. Just going over it real light, because I'm not trying to bring the color back. I'm actually trying to just give a little bit of coating over it. There we go. And even if it is a little bit darker, that would kind of almost just indicate wood that's been being used and wet. Okay, that's not bad. I'm liking it. Touch there. I'm also going to kind of hit these corners. They're a little bit too bright. And the brush has picked up some of the black, so it's kind of blending nice. Yeah, there we go. This is also kind of making it look a little bit more uniform. Not uniform as in where the marks are, more uniform in the tone that it has across the entire piece. I just put out a short video. I'm pretty excited. I found the Cutty Sark, which is a British clipper ship. I built that one also back when I was a teenager, and I found it on eBay for $40, so I couldn't beat that. It arrived today, and it is in perfect condition, brand new. So that was a score that made me happy. We'll also end up filming that one when time comes, but that one's gonna be probably a good year out, because after this build we got Titanic, and I figure Titanic's probably gonna be a long one. All right, so just about where I want that. Yeah, happy. All right, so let me take a look. I just want to take a look at that up against the scale decks and kind of see how that blends. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Obviously, I'm just trying to get an idea of how it looks, but yeah, I'm happy. Okay, onward. So next up, we're going to be putting some of the eyelets on here, and I need some glue. Yes, that has been a question. A couple people actually have asked why I still use CA, or not CA glue, but Testors model glue. I don't use it for everything, but a lot of times plastic to plastic on the kit itself, that's what I still use. When it comes to photo etch, or what do you call it, the other stuff, 3D print, sorry, got distracted looking for tweezers. When it comes to that, I will generally use the CA glue. Now these I already painted black. I'm just going to touch up the top of the ring where the sprue was, because the rest of it is already painted flat black, and they look decent, so no real concerns with them. I can't put the outside one on until we get the deck situated. That'll be a little bit later. But these are so close to the boats, where the boats end up going, that I wanted to get these on at least before we go for the putting the boats on. All right. All right, and two more. I do know they make metal eyelets. I might opt for them. I just haven't yet. All right. Now we're just going to take a little touch of black over the top of them, just so you can't see that sprue mark. And pretty much with all my detail work on any kind of decking or anything, I always use NATO black. I don't use straight flat black. It kind of just has a nicer look to it, and I don't know, in my opinion, it gives it a more realism. So, Tamiya NATO Black, XF69. Alrighty, so next up we have our boats. And no, we don't have our boats. We have our lifeboat holders. So they go on first. So those were what we did a little bit here ago. So we are going to be pointed this direction. All right, so 62 and 64 are in the back. Oops. And I'm just going to kind of dip the glue in a little bit. The markings are larger on one side than the other, so make sure you're cautious of that. Not that you wouldn't see that, but just in case, call it out. 64. That's this guy here. So he's going to be for the bigger boat. Sorry, my chair is squeaking. I'm not sure if that's coming over on the video. I'll put some oil on it. Okay. Then we got 63. And 63 sits that way. Okay. And we got 61. And our last one that's not on the deck is 60, which is this guy. Okay. So the other one comes out here, which will be for the other deck there. One boat goes here, large boat goes there. So going into the directions here, how this basically works, the rope will come around here, lash around, go in through this eyelet, come back up, and then back down to this eyelet here. So I don't see any reason why I can't attach the boats, because I'll be able to get the rope down there and back up without a problem, even with the boats on. So should not be an issue. I bumped that little eyelet there. All right, there we go. All right, so large boat first. And the large boat does not get a boat on top of it. So I'm just gonna put a okay dab of glue on here. Just, I don't want it to run over the sides, obviously, and get all nasty looking. So gotta go kind of thick, but not real thick. And the good thing is the keel of the lifeboat can sit right down in there. All right. That looks good. I like that one. Okay. Now we got one of the boats with the boat on top of it. So we did these in the last video, if you had watched. So we're going to do the same thing there. And right in here. Okay. There we go. All right. Yes, and there's still room that I'll be able to get down to the eyelet, so that will work. All right. So next up from here is going to be more than likely figuring out how I'm going to get these decks joined together. And really what I think I'm going to end up doing is using some leftover plastic sprue on the bottom side, gluing it right to it, and letting it sit overnight. I do believe that will work and give me the result that I'm looking for. And then after that, I can glue the deck down and start putting some fitting out parts onto the deck. So I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. Got one there too. These little nippers work nice. I actually like my red ones better, but I left them upstairs. I was working on something else. All right, good enough. So that deck will sit there. This deck will sit here. We'll let it sit overnight once I get it glued down, and hopefully tomorrow I get a nice solid one-piece deck that I can adhere my scale decks to and continue on with the build. Pretty sure this will work. I don't really see too many issues with doing it. I gotta clean that up a little bit, paint the deck black, and that's where I'll catch back up tomorrow. So tomorrow when we start the video again, I'll have a black deck. It should be all one piece, and yeah, we'll go from there. Be back in a bit. Okay, here we are back again, and this worked. I basically just glued sprue down on the bottom, used some super glue, taped it on, then I hit it back with some tester cement and let it harden up, and here we go. So I got the all the wood basically painted brown, and got the wood grain on as I want. I experimented around with doing the black deck, and I have chosen not to do the black deck because I don't like how it shows through. Basically looking at it here, it's going to look perfectly fine. I did it with some black on some styrene, and it really just looks dark, like darker than it should. So we're not going to do that. So what we're going to do is, just like before, we're going to just trim out our areas here. And prepare the deck to go down. I also tried already test fitting it onto the hull, and that is not going to give me any issues, so I'll be able to continue moving forward as we're waiting for our parts to get here, so that made me happy as well. So just like before, we're just going to cut these tabs off and get them to a point where we're ready to go ahead and lay the deck on. Now, being that this deck is longer, and it's not down on the hull like it was on the first one, I'm going to use some pieces of flat wood along with the clamps to hold it on. Okay. And there we go. So we'll do a quick test fit. Make sure everything, whoops, I missed one. We'll make sure everything lines up as it's supposed to, and then we'll go ahead and start gluing it down. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, I'm liking how it looks up against the wood trim on the deck. Need to come forward just a touch. All right. Okay, all in all, pretty well fits perfect. Maybe up here might need a tiny bit of a trim on the front there. Nope, it fit. Never mind. Yep. Okay. I like the look. We're going to get it glued down and we'll be good to go. So, I'm going to put this over to the side a minute and get my glue. Sorry, that's the cabinet right behind here. Where is my glue? Oh, there it is. All right. So I was happy with the Gorilla Glue wood, so we're using that again. And again, you don't want to get this too thick on there. So we're going to just kind of lay it on. And then we'll spread it out with a Q-tip. There we go, that's better. All right, let me just grab a stick. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Just didn't have myself prepared, I guess. But we're just gonna spread this out, get it on there well. Make sure you get it over by the corners and the edges. Get it in between. In between where the wood marks come up for the grating and the stairwells. And do your best just basically to get a light coverage over everything. I don't want any gloppy spots underneath because that will show through. Like that right there is way too much. So trying to transfer it over to the other side. We should be okay. And just a little bit more back here. And we're almost there. Okay. Like I said before, these are scale decks. They're nice. They are very nice. If I had it to do over again after seeing pictures of Radimir's from his models, I'd probably be using his, but I had ordered these beforehand, so this is what we have, and this is what I'm using. All right, so there we go. And next up, we're going to move this for a second. We're going to bring our deck over, wipe up our little bit of glue right here. Okay. Now, slightly challenging in that the lifeboats are on, but we'll be all right. So we're just going to kind of make sure we avoid hitting that. And we're going to come down right over it. There we go. All right, now got a couple little spots of glue from when I was spreading it out here. I want to rub them off real quick. Okay. Okay, and just kind of edge your fingers along here to get it down where it's supposed to be. Don't let the glue get onto the printing. I've already found one spot that I made a slight error in, and I'm gonna have to try to blend that right there. I think it'll be okay. I'm hoping that a Canon will sit there, but I won't know that until we actually put the deck on the ship. I've seen some people use a roller on these. I don't have a roller for this. I suppose you could get one, but I don't have one, so I'm doing it the way I've always done it. And I know my result will come out okay, all in all. Okay, there we go. We got the initial phase down. So what I'm going to do now, especially along these long edges, is run some wood, which this is just a paint stick. And I'm just going to run the clamps right on it. Don't be afraid to go heavy on the clamps. They won't hurt. And again, I get these clamps at Harbor Freight. They're like $1.99, $2, something like that. They are plastic, so I've never had an issue with them leaving a mark on scale decks, luckily. they've been pretty good. But we're gonna let this sit overnight and cure up. When I originally joined the decks all together, I thought they would have to sit overnight, but they were actually good after about 2 hours of sitting. So we now have a nice solid deck all the way across. I'm happy with it. It looks good. And I think we'll be fine. All right, a couple more clamps up here on the front. Okay. All right, I just gotta clamp down the back here, and yeah. In the morning, we will, I gotta get more clamps from upstairs a minute, but in the morning we will take off from where we were at, and next up we're gonna start putting some of our banisters in that go in here with our tie-down post. I'll have to look up the name of them for tomorrow, but we'll get them in. We'll get our other lifeboat on, get our wheel on, and basically do most of the finishing in the center of the deck. Obviously, I'm not setting any cannons or anything like that because I don't know where they go until we get it on the ship. But yeah, all in all, can't complain. I'm pretty happy with how the deck turned out. I like it. I think it looks good. So let me go up and get some more clamps, and all right, we'll be filming again tomorrow. Okay, so we are in the next day here. I did some work on it already. I got the railings and battens here. They're all done with the wood grain that we've been doing all the way through. Got the other lifeboat on. Got this one on. And then I got the first part of the capstan done, which is the bottom here. I didn't like the capstan that came with the kit, so I ended up printing one. So I have that. It just got done, and that looks like that. So I'm going to actually cut the top of this off from what I printed, because it has arms on it that we're not going to use, but this will be perfect for what I do need to use. So I'm going to move this 1 second. The decks did lay on just perfect, by the way. No issues whatsoever with them. All right. So now I got a capstan base here that I like a lot better than the one that it came with. And we'll get that painted up here in a second. And I'm going to glue the correct top on. So this is the top, which the one that came with the print file I got just looked a lot different, but this is going to work pretty well perfect. I'm going to try to trim that down where the original would have gone into a hole. So there we go. Perfect. So we're using photo etch, not photo etch, geez. The other thing, 3D print. That's the second time this video I've done that, maybe third. So we're using CA glue. That's just going to go right on there and attach right there. Okay. It's sticking to my finger. There. All right. So we're going to let that set up for a couple minutes, and we'll paint the 3D piece. our correct color. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and paint this little vent that would have gone down for below decks. And that is supposed to be black. So we have a couple black parts that go on this piece, or this part of the instructions. So we got this, and then we got the binnacles, which will go back by the ship's wheel. So we're going to put them on in a minute as well. The rope that is supposed to get tied around the binnacle, I'll be able to do later. That's the one that comes up from underneath the deck. So I'm just going to have to loop it around a couple times once we're ready to put the deck down onto the hull. But it should not be a big deal. Okay, he looks good. So what I'm going to do with that is put it on a toothpick, and I usually have a piece of styrofoam that I would stab this into, but I don't seem to. Alright, so I'm going to lean that against the stand over here. Let that dry. Alright, so now we got our binnacles, which are piece number 68, both of them respectively. They have some flashing on them that I want to try to clean up before we go ahead and put that on, or before we paint it, I mean. Okay, just has a little circle right in the middle of that. Okay, there we go. So I'll paint those. Again, I'm just using the NATO black, which looks pretty good, in my opinion. I also got our vents, grills, whatever you want to call them, all painted up and ready to go. So we'll attach them to the deck here in a minute after we get this painted. And basically, we're kind of winding down video number 4 already. Hard to believe, it feels like I just put 3 out, but time flies. So we'll get this one put out, and then I had a FedEx update today that the order from overseas should be here actually Friday, so that's exciting, which means I can really start cranking along on this. Alright, we're going to let them dry. And now we're going to bring our deck back over. Okay. So we have a ladder that goes in this one. We have another railing that comes across here, and that's this piece right here. And I pre-did the wood grain on it, so that's already done. So I don't have to bore you with that. Okay, just gotta cut that off a little better. Alright, now we're gonna dip it in some glue. Oh, our glue is dry. Okay, 1, 2, goes this direction. Okay. And we just set them down in there. Oh, I didn't even think about it when I showed how we were doing the deck, or bringing the deck together. That's basically all I did, for anybody that's interested. It's just 2 pieces of sprue, and they're holding perfect, and it's pretty solid, as you can see. So it definitely worked, exactly how I wanted it to. So if anybody else finds themselves in a situation where they need to mount the deck earlier, for all intents and purposes, there's no reason you can't. All right, let's go ahead and paint up our capstan to get that ready to go on. And again, that's going to be our tan that we've been using. Okay. Yeah, this definitely looks better than what I got. Was basically a cylinder that had no detail on it with these little ribs that are going down it. And I don't know if mine was a misprint or what, but like half of it was off shape. I mean, it was almost not usable. So that's kind of why I chose to do this. But this will work much better. And it looks pretty accurate from what I can tell. All right, we'll let that guy dry up for a minute. In the meantime, we will move on to putting our grates in. That one railing here just keeps leaning. If it does it again, I might hit it with some CA glue just to hold it. Okay, so we got this guy, it goes in here. So a little dip of the glue. Okay. Or we'll just use a Q-tip, not a Q-tip, a toothpick, and I'll run it down along the cargo hold, or I don't even know if that's a cargo hold. I guess it's just an access way, really, because the other one has railings that go on it. But I guess technically it would be a cargo hold because they, I'm sure, have to get stuff down below decks. Provisions, supplies, cannonballs, all that sort of stuff. Okay, there we go. So we've got a little bit of glue. All right. I'll probably have to add a little bit more paint once that's in. This is a Vallejo paint, and it does tend to chip pretty easy. So, no worries, we'll fix it. The other thing I don't particularly like about it is it's a very thick paint, which I suppose thinned down for an airbrush probably won't be too bad, but it's kind of annoying when you're doing it by brush. Okay, so wrong one. I do like the color though up against the wood grain, so let me just pause this 1 second. I dropped a piece. All right, I found our missing grate. All right, the great part was it blended in real nice with the floor, so that made it fun. But we found it, so no biggie. Now we're just going to touch that up with a little bit from from my scratching it, installing it. This model has actually ended up being a lot more brush painting than I really anticipated. I generally airbrush almost everything, but for some reason I've gotten myself into a kick of brush painting. Well, some of it I don't really have a choice with the whole wood grain and all that good stuff. So, is what it is. I don't mind brush painting, it just does take longer, and you have brush marks. But then again, with this type of ship being the age that it is and all that with real wood, a little bit of texture isn't going to hurt anything either. So it's all good. All right. Well, we got one more grate. And this one goes back between where the binnacles go. Really? Okay, that's going in the trash. All right. There we go. Touch him up a little bit. All right, we seem to be pretty good. All right, onward. All right, we got our binnacles to go on. And where'd they go? They're on the other piece. Here we go. And once they're on, I will touch them up too, because I didn't take them off the sprue beforehand. There's one. Oh, good. I dropped it. That 1,000. That one was easy to find. Okay. There we go. Now, the side with the hole faces the stern of the ship. And they're both the same part number. A little bit too much glue. This is why I don't usually try to dip that much. Okay. Not going to do that the second time. Okay. Now, I'm going to look at pictures of those in real life to see if maybe they might have a gold top on them. I'm not positive. But the directions just say black. So that's what they are for now until I look at pictures. All right, next up, we got a little bit of browning to do on that, and then we can install that guy. And I think after that, we're just going to install the wheel, and basically the deck will be pretty much done, aside from a couple little eyelets here and there. So once we put this on, and the wheel, pretty much going to wrap up this video. Okay. Now, this won't be really that visible, so there we go. It looks about right. Going to use our CA glue again because it is a 3D part, and that's just going to sit right there. Perfect. Okay, I like it. I think, oh, we got our chimney. Chimenea? I don't know if it's a chimenea. We'll call it a chimenea. But I don't think the ship had a chimenea. I got my lifeboat a little bit far out. But that didn't like to fit real well. Alright, well, luckily it didn't damage the paint on the lifeboat, so I can just reset, and then I'll have to touch up some black on the chimenea. Okay. There we go. Alright, so I got black to touch up on the binnacles and chimenea, so we're going to do that real fast. My fingers have paint both from the ship and from the car I'm painting. That was what I did all afternoon. So my apologies for all the paint. Just is what it is. Alright, and like I said, I'm going to take a look to see if they are supposed to be black on those tops, or if there's something else that's supposed to be there. But for now, we're going black like the directions said. Alright, now our last thing, oh, it might take a minute longer than I thought. I don't know if I did the base for the wheels yet. Let me find the base, which is part number 44. I'll be right back. Well, that was a little bit of a scare, but luckily I found them. Apparently the lifeboats were on the same sprue, and I had painted it white when I sprayed them, so I couldn't find the holders for the ship wheel anywhere because I was looking for a piece on a brown sprue. So luckily they're here. I got them. Just had to look around a little harder, but we got them. So we're going to go ahead and get this wheel on, and then that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode, I do believe. I figure the next episode should get pretty entertaining on the end of doing some aftermarket parts, because once we get the deck on, we're really getting close to being done with the actual kit parts that I'm going to be using, because I'm going to be doing my own rat lines. I'm going to be doing my own, the blocks are obviously coming with that kit, like I said. So there's going to be a little bit more to go from the actual kit, but really not that much. The rest of it's going to start getting into the aftermarket stuff. Obviously the masks and all that kind of stuff are not, but they're still going to be the kit. And that's going to become a new challenge on how to video it when we're going tall at that point. So I'm sure we'll get through that challenge, but something that's been in the back of my mind is trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do for that aspect. Okay, so the flashing is just killing me on this. And half the time you don't really notice it until you're ready to put a piece together. So just be prepared for that. And my kit, it's not one of the old ones, but it's not one of the new ones either. So I don't know. I imagine it's gotten worse over time, but there we go. Wheel is in. And we want to keep that turnable, so we're not gluing the wheel into it. That just is going to ride right in there. And like I said, once we get the deck on, then we'll put the strings up through it, and I'll just wrap them around a couple times until we're set. But there we go. Wheel is in place, and other than a couple eyelets, a couple go here, a couple go up in here. Other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and call this a done video. So all in all, pretty happy with where we're at right now at this point, and looking forward to seeing what the box of parts brings on Friday. So thank everyone for tuning in. If you're liking what you see, if you're learning anything, please make sure you subscribe. Definitely appreciate everybody that's watching. Remember, the Constitution Canon giveaway is on Saturday, so if you haven't put in for it, there is a separate video on my page with a question for you to answer in order to be put into the drawing of winning answers. So again, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.